Well, for the Aggies, people who think they know about football, Utah State's eighth in the conference in the preseason. We'll talk to coach about that. I'm wondering about how 2021 was so different. I mean, we didn't know how much you had there in
No,
your first team, and now, and if they had, I don't know, they had divisions then, so
that's true.
I think you were near the bottom of the division in the preseason, and you won it all. Does this team have that kind of potential?
I think any team has that kind of potential. You don't really know till you start really kind of developing and playing. And with the unique environment we're in now, with the portal and attrition, I was looking yesterday before we came down. I've got 39 new scholarship players since last season. I mean that's just ridiculous. So I don't know what this team can do, and I didn't know what 2021 could do. We brought in a bunch of transfers to go with a really good senior COVID class, and lightning kind of struck, and so that could happen this year. I think last year would have been a lot better had we not had so many injuries and went through 27 different, really kind of impactful injuries. So who knows what last year could look like? Every season is different. None of us really know what we have. I know there are predictions, and we were way down the list in 21, and we're able to win it. This team, who knows? Maybe they can do the same thing.
The portal situation this year coming into this season, did you expect that much activity to go on?
Well, we don't win the championship in 21 without the portal. What's changed now is the addition of the NIL piece, and it's made it way more attractive for a lot more guys to get into the portal. I mean, before you were getting in the portal just because you wanted more playing time. And a few guys were moving up to play at the Power 5 level. Now the addition of the financial piece that is extremely competitive out in the open market. Now you lose 5 starters and you lose some other guys that want to play, and the number probably doubled or maybe even tripled in some areas. That the attrition number is just so much bigger. So now, as I mentioned, now you've replaced 39 scholarship players since last season. That number would normally be a lot smaller. Even with a big senior class, maybe that number was in the mid 20s, but 39 is a lot. And most of those guys have the opportunity to impact our team this fall because 29 of them are transfer players that have played some ball before. So we'll find out what kind of team we got as we start working with them.
You talked about NIL, and everybody's heard about Gary Anderson's collective and so forth. How's that working at Utah State to this point in the preseason?
Well, it hasn't really been a big conversation piece for us yet. I mean, it's been a push to try to get ourselves in a competitive space, and nobody really knows what the competitive space is. There's a lot of unknowns, and I have talked to Gary and Eric Law both. They've done a lot of research. They want to put us in a place where we can hold our own and retain players and obviously be an attractive place. So I think we're moving in a really good, in a good place. I think we have a strategy that works for Logan and works for Utah State. I think they've got a good idea of what that looks like, and it will become, I think, more of a conversation piece for us in recruiting and in retention and honestly in a competitive space for key players that are available. But it has not been that up to this point. But it's going to have to be moving forward to be able to do what we all want to do in football and basketball.
Okay, let's talk about transitions. You've had one. You're going to go back to being a signal caller in college football, which you've done.
Yeah.
And that's probably, if I asked, was it a smooth transition? Probably was easy to get ready for this, isn't it?
Well, change is always difficult, but that's one of those things you enjoy doing. I like the guys in the room that I'm with, both on staff and in the quarterback room as well. That's one of those things that you get excited about, getting back in the meeting room and doing drill work and the strategy of setting up plays for weeks at a time and when to call the right one. And I just felt like that a few things we were struggling in a few areas. Number one, I didn't feel like we were using all of our talent. I thought we were kind of narrow-minded, a little bit narrow-focused on a few particular players and not spreading the ball around enough. I thought we could be more balanced and use all of our weapons a little bit better. We're still going to play spread out and wide. We're going to play faster. And it'll be like we're really playing very fast. It's something I've always believed in. I think it can be for us, I think it'd be an advantage, especially late in the game. It can minimize some mismatches where maybe physically we're not looking great in the first quarter, but by the third or fourth quarter some of those matchups start playing in our favor. So Those two, and we got to stop turning the ball over. We were dead last in the country in turnovers at quarterback position last year, and in some way I've got to be able to affect that number. That numbers can't be that high and still be competitive. And we avoided it some in year one. Last year we struggled in those three areas. And so I'd like to think that you're going to see us spread the ball around more to more people, play faster, and turn the ball over less. All those things help us win.
I've told you this before. I watched you the last 2 seasons on the sideline a lot, and you're active with the players. And you have a headset on, so you know what's going on there, I guess. But you seem to be more interested in getting guys on the right page and so forth. Are you going to have time to do that in these games?
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, when we're on offense, I got to be completely in tune to calling plays. But one thing I found as a head coach, as a play caller, which I've done at Arkansas State, and we moved the ball and scored points. I can't dwell in a lot of adjustments. I've got to make quick adjustments, and then I've got to move on into game management. I've got to let the staff do what they need to do. And I do trust my staff. The offensive guys, I think we're all on the same page. But I don't have a ton of time. I've got to be efficient with my decision making and efficient with my communication about this is what's going to happen next, and then I got to move on because I do want to be interactive with the players in all three phases of the game, and I think it's allowed us to do some things at times and all kind of feed off of each other, and I don't want to lose that.
Quickly, let's talk about some personnel. Is Robert Briggs the heir apparent at running back?
Well, he is, but we also brought in a couple transfers in there that we feel like are going to add some super good snaps. I mean, Devon Booth and Faison, both of those guys came in this spring. Well, Devon went through the spring, and Briggs was out, so we got a lot of Devon Booth this spring, and he did a really, really good job. And then you bring in Razul Faison from Snow in the summer. We haven't seen him play live yet, but physically he adds a level of just size and power that we didn't have. So it's a deeper room, a couple freshmen in the room, and then you got Cooper Jones. We're way deeper there than we were, this time last year. I think everybody's going to have a role, but Briggs is finally healthy, coming off the shoulder injury, and he looks electric. He looks a step faster, and I feel like he's matured. He'll have a chance to tote the rock a bunch.
Stanford, transfer.
Yeah.
Colby Bowman.
Trying to add to that.
Wide receiver?
Yeah, wide receiver. Colby Bowman. We got him about a week before spring ball started. He graduated from Stanford, came in and had a really, really good spring. He's a 6'2", 210-pound guy that can really run. Probably a legitimate 4.4 guy. If you look back to his high school stuff, was a track guy as well. He's added some speed and some size on the outside that we lacked a year ago. And he adds in there to a group of guys that I thought had a really good spring.
I meant to ask you about Coach Cephalo. Is he going to be upstairs and you'll be on the field then, obviously?
Yeah, Ceph will be my eyes upstairs. He's the co-OC. Been with me now for 10 years. Knows what I want to do offensively. We've done this before. We've revamped and kind of tweaked and changed a little bit along the way. I think we kind of finish each other's sentences at this point. So he'll be my eyes upstairs. He'll have a lot of impact on play calling and game plan throughout the course of the week. But I'll be on the field making those calls. The tempo that we want to play at, we've got to have conversations very quickly. We have to have them between series. And I think that familiarity and that relationship that we have allows us to do that at a high pace and a high level.
Talking of familiarity, Joe Coughlin on the other side, defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I knew if I was going to take over the offense that I needed to have somebody that I completely trusted. And Joe and I go all the way back to the early, mid-'90s together at Trinity Valley Community College. But he was my DC for 5 years at Arkansas State. We won 2 titles, and he was running the defense. I was heavily involved, if not calling the offense during that time. And I know exactly what I'm going to get out of him. He's meticulous in terms of his preparation. He's a 4-down guy, which is what we've been, but he's also versatile enough, I think, to be able to adapt to the different offenses that we're going to see in this league. And he's been under some great people. One of them was a head coach across the league at UNLV, and Barry Odom. He was with Barry at Arkansas. So it's been a good, very tough transition because of the timing of when Banda went to the NFL. But I thought he did a great job coming in with very limited opportunity to get a foundation and get the buy-in from the players. So I feel like we're in a good place. A lot of new bodies over there. He'll figure that out.
One other thing, you got a lot of commitments today. Since the end of last season till right now, is there one thing that's really happened that is going to be significant this year? Or?
I think one of the best things for us is we maintained our entire strength staff. Paul Jackson and his staff, everybody stayed put. We just kind of continue that development. We put on size and strength in there. We've recruited to fill depth. We will be deeper this season than we were last year. We obviously need to avoid the injuries that we traveled through last year. But if we can avoid the injury, we're deeper. I feel like we've added bodies to help in every room, and our strength staff has done a great job in the offseason. And having a guy, as you mentioned, Joe Carlton on the other side of the ball that I can completely trust, I feel as good as I can going into the season, not really knowing what we have or what we're up against. We'll start figuring out 1 week at a time, but I like the work capacity of this group, the energy and the attitudes. Very, very selfless, very unselfish group of guys that come to work every day. I just feel like that gives you a great opportunity, and you get a chance to be successful with that.
Coach, I thought you rallied the guys last year to be in a position to win 7 games.
Yeah.
And then what happened to Boise State, but it was terrific, and we wish you the best in this new season.
Well, we're going to be competitive. I appreciate that. I hope everybody will come out and support us and get these guys going.
Blake Anderson, thanks.